Okay, so I've started the video again. A call came in and interrupted my first video. So I'll start again. I thought we could do tulips today because they're so cheerful and very easy. So I've got two cards. One has the ink pen on it and this one doesn't. They're both tulips. I thought I'd do tulips without pen first and then come back in and do another grouping with pen. I also have my iPad here and I found these beautiful tulips and I thought they could be a reference for us. So I've got those right here. Now you can see that tulips come in a variety, actually almost all colors. I've even seen some black tulips before. These are deep, deep purple, but they could have that appearance of black, and look, it's a beautiful white one. So I've started here. I got my pen, my dagger, brush, my paper's dry. I got my brush wet and dipped it in the colors that I wanted for these tulips. And I got this variety of tulip heads here. Now they're dry. And so I'm going to come back in and just add some little more color for either detail or for a variety of color on the tulips. And the only ones really that I'm seeing that actually need some extra color is this kind of red orange one here. I'm going to bring a line there. See, we can see the different petals. Sometimes the lines just give us reference of the petals that we're seeing to the tulips. So I'm just kind of coming back in and giving these just a little boost of color and let them dry that way. And in the interim, let's come down to this grouping where we're going to, I think I'm going to stay with just red. These two are dry, so I can come back in and give them some more color. And I'm going to add some tulips here to be in the garden with them. And tulips, when you see them, usually if you see them on the first day that they've bloomed, or maybe shortly after they've bloomed, maybe it's a couple days, and they're standing just upright, just like these tulips are here. And then as they get older, as they age, sometimes their stems, rather than going completely straight, they start to curve. And when that happens, usually it's such a graceful, just a graceful curve. So right now, I've got these tulips just standing up straight. I'm gonna come back to these over here now because these are wet and I'm gonna leave them wet. These are quite dry, so I'm gonna add our stems. And I just talked about how they're upright when they're fresh. And so I'm gonna have these stems be upright for the most part. And sometimes I add a little bit of that stem color in the bottom of the tulips as I'm adding the stems, because sometimes they have a variety of color there at the base of the tulip. Now these stems, I'm just bringing them in quickly, kind of allows them to not be exactly straight, and that makes for the elegance of tulips, I believe. If they're just not quite exact, just kind of bring their stems down. I think when we'll go back and make the stems just a little thicker at another point, because that's a big flower to hold up on those little skinny stems. So here we're gonna just make those stems just a little deeper or thicker. And I'm using greens right now, but stems actually, look at these stems. You can see green, you can see some blue here, red here. So realistically, we can add a little bit of color to these stems, and there we go. Look at that. And it's just bleeding along the line that was already there for the stem. Kind of gives it some depth there to have that color. Now I'm going to let these dry for just a bit because the stems are bleeding up into the tulips, and the stems are thick enough that I'm going to move on. I'm going to come down to this group of red tulips. I'm going to give them some stems. They're still not quite dry, but we're going to add their stems. This tulip looks like it's going one way, and this one does too, so we're going to give that one a little curved, and this one's got a nice curve to it too, so we're going to kind of add that curve to it. So we've got 5 tulips. I like odd numbers, so this is the grouping that I would like. And then this, how many do we have here? We've got 8. So I usually would make it an odd number, but we're going to go with it at 8, and we're just going to give some variety to their leaves to kind of balance it out. So I've got my brush a little bit wet. I've dipped it in some green paint and some blue paint, and I'm just going to come in and give that little tulip a stem. And I don't want this, or not a stem, but a leaf. And I like a variety of leaves because the way the light hits the leaves, it alters their color just a little bit. They're not all just green or all just blue. Oh, it looks like there's a little bit of yellow in there today. So I'm gonna just add some stems quickly here, or leaves, and we can come back in and add more as we see we want. I'm going to come down here and do a little bit of leaves too. The tulip leaves are really quite gorgeous. They're not thin, so they're a wider leaf, and sometimes they curve a little bit, and sometimes they have curves within the curve. That was a little darker than I was anticipating right at first, but that's the beauty of the watercolor. It just looks very naturalized. And you know, I've said before that I like lots of color on things, so I'm quite happy with those. But the thing we're gonna need is for them to dry before we keep going. I didn't bring my heat gun in. I said I was last time going to, so I can't help them dry, but I'm just gonna bring a little more leaves. And they're so cheerful. I think these days, especially today when the snow was coming, I just needed a little bit of cheer. And that's what our painting allows, is just bring a little brightness into our lives. We're all in our houses now, and it's nice that we can paint together, and that can bring a lot of pleasure to us. Okay, I'm gonna let those dry just a bit. Trying to see if this is really recording. Yes, it is. Okay, good. I'm seeing some of these flowers, and I just think I might add a little bit of brightness to this orange one. So I'm actually going to add a little yellow on top of that red. That's pretty. I'm going to add just a little bit of depth to this one here. Maybe there too. Oh, this guy. He's not even sure what color he wants to be. Add a little bit more color or definition here with the color. I'm going to make this there. That's pretty. This guy's, there we go. There. Oh man, they're pretty. Okay. They're so cheery. I'm trying to think what else. They just need to dry, and then we can add some pen. And put a little more purple here. Just give it a little more depth. Ooh, nice, nice. Just doing it that way too. Let's bring him, there we go. And just bring a tad here at the base. These are nice because they're kind of, the base is kind of bled in the stem a little. Go over one of the stems. Help out the color there. Okay, now I'm to the point where I often get, and I look at them and I think, oh, they're looking good, but I want a little color, so I'm going to bring a little bit of this bright, nice blue there. Ooh, that's wonderful. Oh, I'm going to add it there too. That just adds a lot. I'm going to come back. Now I'm going to put a little bit of that bright blue right here. Now these bases of these tulips are kind of like they're in the dirt here, and they're just ending right there. Sometimes I like to just bring a little variance so they're not all stopped at the same place. Sometimes I like to add on when I'm painting tulips, I like to add some flowers at the base or leave them as they are in their soil, but I don't paint the soil, I just kind of leave them. And then other times I have put in the soil. I think this grouping right here might look a little nice with just a touch. That's enough for me. Just a touch of what that would be down here as being soil. This one, I don't think I'm going to add any soil to it. I do think I'm going to add just a little bit of yellow to some of these greens. Ooh, nice. That might be a little much yellow, but all I've got to do is bring in a little more green, and we're going to end up having it be a beautiful, beautiful yellow, green, spring green. So, oh, there we go. That's lovely. Okay, these petals, or they need a little bit, don't they? They just need a little bit of brighting to brighten them up just a tad. So we'll give them their variety. Ooh, I like that. Sometimes you can see the edge of the leaves, and sometimes that's nice to give that definition. I'm going to come down on these stems just a little bit with this darker color. And some of the stems are in the bloom, or the leaves here, and some of them are on top of the foliage. Okay, well that's our video for today then, and I will, when they're dry, they're too wet right now to come back in and put the pen on them, but maybe as I do tomorrow's video, I'll add some pen at the beginning of our video so you can watch while I do that, and then we'll start on another flower tomorrow. Okay guys, have fun with these tulips and do them however you want, all different colors, same colors, and Grandma would love to see your pictures. You can text them to me, and then we'll paint a different flower tomorrow. Okay, have fun. Have a great day, guys. Love ya. Bye-bye.